guys. I'm Natalia. In the wise words of Hannah Montana, you can always find your way back home. Belmont has been my home for the past 18 years. You have known me completely, taught me my worth through experiences more valuable than thousands of sparrows. I have met my best friends in this church. I have found home with them no matter where we are. My Belmont home for a week was in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, for my first youth trip. I still came back home to Belmont after the hot mess that included a stomach bug, a lack of socks, a refugee experience, and more mosquito bites than I can count. My home has been Toronto, Canada, Charleston, South Carolina, and San Francisco, California on choir tours. My home has been a Waffle House with my senior class and Cracker Barrel at 6 in the morning after no-dos, now reframed as dos to value our mental and physical health. Thanks, Emma. Recently, the senior girls have adopted a brunch tradition. I'm not exactly sure if that counts as turning into the millennial our youth director is, but I do know that I am truly loved and known by all of them. This church has known me through everything, just as God has. Belmont has known me through all of my life stages. When I was younger, I wanted to be a pastor, lining up my stuffed animals on the pew that we had at home just to give them sermons. I famously said, "Jesus is a protein." I'm not exactly sure whether I was imitating what I had heard from this pulpit or sharing my own profundity, but hopefully something in this sermon holds the same weight for you as Jesus is a protein did for me when I was 4. Belmont has known me through kindergarten prayer friends like Anna Kramer, who is also one of my childhood best friend's moms. Belmont has known me through my decision to be confirmed. I wasn't struck on the way to Damascus when I decided to officially become a member of the United Methodist Church. Instead, I determined that I valued the intellectual process of learning that is foundational to this church. You have nurtured my curiosity and ideas in a way that has taught me my value and the value of my opinions. Molly Henry was my faith friend, and with her, I had my first cappuccino, and now I'm very loyal to church coffee and the youth room Keurig on Sunday mornings, now that I'm not at FIDA with Emma Ann. I know I can never escape the love of Belmont or its people. This church has shown me God every day. I usually like to have a little bit of a uniqueness complex and be a little different during the Christ Candle on Sunday nights, where we go around the circle and share where we saw God during the week. So I don't always say church, but I see God in every member of Belmont United Methodist Church. I can trust my relationship with this church will not waver no matter where or who I am. Mary Jane Duke dropped off supplies every week when we did virtual Sunday school, refusing to let a pandemic get in the way of showing each other that we are loved. I have a note from her glued on my Bible because by knowing me, she has shown me God's love. Now I get to babysit Mary Jane's grandchildren and know that they will have the same privilege that I have of growing up in a place that will love them and value them regardless of their identity or their interests. Belmont has given me my emergency contact. Thank you, Rachel Parker. Rachel, you're on my list of favorites to call because you've been so much more than my best friend's mom. You've been where I saw God when I needed God the most. Belmont has taught me how to be at home with all the complex parts of myself. I have a lot of complex emotions, especially a little bit of hanger on Sunday nights around 5:30. And Eric Patton is always in the narthex for a hug and a conversation. I ask a lot of questions. My auntie even told me that I would probably get kicked out of a cult because I have too many. I guess that's good news for all of us, since now we know Belmont isn't a cult, because Paul will always encourage my questions and take them farther. Amy Cooper and Pastor Kate have taught me to be at home with the childish parts of myself and remind me that I can always come back to children's ministry. Gail Sullivan has taught me how to be at home with myself and the decisions I make and my own trust. And Mr. James has taught me how to be at home with reaching my goals, always handing me a piece of candy or a word of encouragement. I'm at home, I'm known, and I'm loved here. Thank you, Belmont, and thank you, senior class. We've been through it together since the very beginning, and I'm proud to know we can come back to each other here because Belmont will continue to do what it has done for us.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Kate. In today's scripture, David tells us that God is always with us. He knows our every thought. God goes before us and follows behind us. He knows our hearts, from the womb to when we take our final breath, guiding our every move from the morning to the evening. I have been blessed to know this God through my time here at Belmont. I began attending Belmont when I was in my mother's womb, and she sat in these pews right over here, before I even knew who I was. Many people at Belmont have known and loved me since before I took my first breath. As the scripture tells us, God has loved me for the same amount of time. One thing I've learned is that God is not an abstraction. We see and experience God through the people around us. We learn to be Christians by following the examples of others. I've had many Christian role models who have formed me here at Belmont, who have shown me the love of God. Miss Virginia and Rick Kuehler, my Sunday school and confirmation leaders, my children's choir directors, Miss Cooper and Miss Bagwell, my youth choir director, Gail Sullivan, my youth leaders, Darren, Emma, my prayer friend, Anna Kramer. The scripture tells us that we cannot escape God's Spirit. Growing up, I've learned that you can't escape this church, even if you try. When I was going through hard times or feeling isolated during COVID, I could still count on Darren texting me to remind me we had a youth event that week or a small group meeting with Emma. I may have been forced to come to church in my early years. The good news is, as an adult, it is now a decision I make to keep coming back. Even when I'm overloaded with homework, tired, or stressed, I always want to come to church. It's a safe place, one where I know I can laugh with my friends and be surrounded by people who love me and who I love. Another part of this scripture tells us that God follows us everywhere we go. We can't go anywhere where God won't be. Last summer, during our ASP trip, I thought to myself, there's no way that God could be present here. I was eating ration pancakes that were rock hard. I would bang them against the tray, they wouldn't break. Showering in a trailer using a hose. But even there, I found God's presence through my service to others, knowing I was making a difference in people's lives, taking a break from the trivial concerns of my life and committing myself to improve the lives of others. I struggle with one verse in this scripture, the one that tells us God knows our anxious thoughts. Throughout my life, I've struggled with anxiety. I've been told by some people to trust in God, to cast my anxious thoughts onto Him, that it will relieve me of this stress. I've always had a hard time doing that, and I think many people can relate. In these moments, it feels like God has no power to ease us of our anxieties, of our stresses. At some points in my life, I've thought there is no way my struggles can be a part of any greater plan. But reading back this scripture and reflecting on my experiences, I find comfort in this verse. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. God has had a plan for me since before I was even born, a plan for good. Even when life sometimes strays from His vision, He is still there to guide me and give me strength. I now see the struggles I've gone through have only made me stronger. When we can lean on God, we can overcome any hardship that life throws our way. So, although I know it's difficult to do, trust God. Everyone experiences anxiety, but know that God has a plan for you. He knows your every thought, and He is guiding you through every step of your journey. Look for God's love in the church through the people who love and support you. I know upon graduating and moving to a place completely new for the first time in my life, that it will be hard. But God will follow me there, and I will always have my Belmont family to show me His love.
Hi. I know my mom is happy that I'm speaking today because I remember watching the seniors do this last year, and I was nervous for them to speak in front of the church. After the service, I proceeded to tell my mom that there was zero chance that I would be doing this because, number one, I know I would be so scared, and number two, I would have no idea what I would even say. But look where I am now. This also happens to be my second time preparing something to say in front of the church within a little over a month. But the last time I was up here speaking, the circumstances were very different. Although I do believe that the lyrics in Sugar Speak a Number, you can rest assured that I will not be playing it in the microphone today. And while the circumstances of my speaking today are different from the last, I know the support is the same. I am beyond thankful for the love and support I have been receiving recently, and it is a huge comfort for me through these difficult times. I have always felt as if Belmont has been a pillar in my life and a safe space where I'm comfortable to be myself. Over the years, I've had so many meaningful memories, friendships, and experiences through this community. From playing church basketball with Lori Pierce, sprinting up and down the halls looking for a box filled with candy, making origami boxes in the pews with Lane, and absolutely dominating every talent show opportunity with Sarah Kate at Beersheba or choir tours. I'm filled with so much gratitude that I have been able to have so many of my favorite memories here. Psalm 139 tells us of God's boundless love and presence in our daily lives. God has definitely shown his presence as Frankie the bus driver navigated the steep hills of San Francisco with a bus load of screaming teenagers on our choir tour. Additionally, at my senior night, it was made so special by community members who showed up just to see me walk across the basketball court that I didn't even play on. This was especially comforting in the light of my mom's unwavering support over the years in anything I would ever do. Although she couldn't be there, that night I felt her support in every step I took walking across the court. These experiences serve as an assurance that God is always with us. The scripture is also a reminder that I'm never alone through my battles and that there will always be a hand to guide me. The choir song, Hold Me, Rock Me, has provided me with comfort and assurance, especially when hearing it at my mother's service. It was so special to hear the voices of the people I love on such a hard day as a reminder of their support. I am beyond grateful to have the church as a source of love, support, hope, guidance, and many other great adjectives through my many hardships. You have all seen me through my hardest battles and even through my incredibly awkward middle school stages, like when I ran for choir president in the 7th grade and I had a little too much confidence. Yet, I have been shown unwavering love. This incredible group of people has shown a beacon of light through these dark and uncertain times, and I'm so thankful to call Belmont my home. As I face the future, I'm comforted with the knowledge that I will always have a place I can come back to where the love is wholehearted and unconditional.
Good morning. My name is Lane Parker. I really love a good mystery with a nicely wrapped up solution. I listen to true crime podcasts, watch documentaries about ancient secrets of long-dead civilizations, and I love whodunit movies. In fact, on choir tour with the Open Door Singers in my 8th grade year, we had a mysterious event surrounding some moved rooms in our dorm rooms and a possible boo hag encounter, and I'm still waiting for the logical explanation to that. Don't think I forgot Dr. Cooper or Darren. As you may be able to tell, I'm not great at letting things be a mystery. Yet, in Psalm 139, David says that such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. This puts me at a crossroads. I always want a clear answer and a satisfying solution to a big mystery. I want to be able to understand so that I can live out my truest calling and follow God the way they intended for me. Yet, in all of this doubt and desire to be right and good in the eyes that call me beloved, I don't think this knowledge David speaks of is actually a mystery. It's not a great unknown that God is with me wherever I go and that my life is guided by their omnipotence. What I do think is that it is an unnameable feeling. There is no comprehension of the vast expansiveness of God's care for us and the concern over our lives, but I can feel it in moments of reflection. To me, God always sends a sign no matter where I am. There's always a text from my best friend that is exactly what I need to hear, or a cat jumping on my car after a hard day, or, as my mom notices, a smell from my great-grandparents' house that envelops you and lets you know that they are with you. This is what proves to me that I am beloved. Not only do I see God through the people who I know love me, I see how God goes with me on my journey and works through them. The humanity and the image of God within my life takes the mystery and unknowing away. While I know I can never fully name and understand the presence and workings of God's presence on my path, I can feel it at work. To me, this makes the anxiety ease. This doesn't make the hard days go away. It makes me remember that I am loved and someone goes with me through the hard times. Sometimes I overlook these representations of God's unending love. I am so wrapped up in myself that I cannot recognize the love and knowing that follows me. The senior quote I chose was a lyric from a Brandi Carlile song called The Eye. The chorus goes, "You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye." When I first heard the song at one of her concerts, I didn't really understand it. But it sat with me, and I knew immediately that I wanted to keep it close. Maybe this is just another mystery to be solved, or maybe it's more like David's mystery. You feel the answer, but you can't conceptualize it. I do think I'm getting a grasp on it now, though. Even though it may not fit the entire context of the song, God is always present, always with me no matter what, the farthest oceans or the darkest nights to which I wander. That even while a violent storm may be going on around me, not only is there a calm center, but when I recognize the rest and guidance God provides us, I can be free to sway and dance. To me, that is youthfulness, the reflection on how much you are loved, and you must grow into understanding that it is constant. You have to fall in and out of knowing that you are seen and beloved. Yet, I have always been able to eventually find the assuredness of the all-knowing Spirit that guides me. I can look back and see where the harder path I was set on was not only the right one, but something I wouldn't have done alone. I moved schools during my sophomore year during the height of the pandemic. At first, there was no question that it was the wrong time and too risky to leave the comfort of knowing my path. But even though there are things I still miss, I realized that push that whispered for me to leave knew where I needed to be. Sometimes for me, it felt really difficult not to isolate myself from my friends and loved ones. Yet, the people who enact God's love were a push to remain in community. It feels easier to guard my emotions, and not only my friends and church family, but my church family has guided me forward. Through many deep talks, melancholic nights on porch swings, coffees at Fido, and constant joy, I realized that the best path is the one that not only brings me closer to God, but also to the people who consistently show me the love and knowing God promises. I like things to be certain, for a mystery to have a good conclusion, and for everything in life to be cut and dry. It is difficult when things stray from the path I have planned. In these moments of difficulty with the collapse of the path I created, I fail to realize two things. One, that the only thing that is certain is God's presence. And two, God knows the path of my life beyond any ability I have to control. I have to lean into not fully understanding, only recognizing the warmth of knowing I am cared for and on the path God set out for me. Thank you.